Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the RedBull Ring out in Spielberg. And I've got to say, this is going to be a proper bit of fun. This is the RaceFace TCR Championship, the final round of the TCR Championship. 2 heats this evening, and we will be able to decide our champion for both our Pro and Pro-Am. And tonight is a very interesting one. We've got a multitude of new drivers going and joining into the series. We've also got a few drivers that are looking to make their name tonight and really stake their claim. And I can't wait to see how it's all going to turn out. I see Visi Stelgrad already jumping in and saying big tech problems in the wheel, had to reinstall the whole setup to try and make it for tonight's round, so he had to risk it for the biscuit to get it all sorted out. Good to see that he's able to get it all sorted out. But a big welcome to everyone. Thank you very much for joining us here this evening. So let's cut down to our circuit. We've got Tim the cameraman that's going to be providing all our amazing track action tonight, with Jim helping us out. And it is going to be a absolutely amazing run tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you've just joined us, welcome to RaceFace.Pro TCR Championship Season 3, not Season 2. Oh, Tim getting caught out by that one right at the bit at the RedBull Ring. And it is going to be, as I said, a really proper run for our drivers. Now, a couple of things that's going to be happening out on the circuit. 2 heats, 15 minutes, qualifying 20-minute heats each. Drivers have open setups on these cars. They can properly set the cars up to have minimal amount of drag and really go for a high pace, or get yourself a little bit of downforce, get the cars to sort themselves out as life goes on. So it's going to be a bit of an interesting race, and I do feel we're going to see drivers having to really push the boundaries of what they can do around this 4.2 kilometer circuit out in Austria. It is warm, 25 degrees Celsius, 21 degrees track temperature, so that does go and just bring the temperature down a little bit, does help the tires. Couple of drivers we do have out tonight is Visi Stelgrad, Dokerber, Jason could see going and making his return as our practice finishes up and we transition over to qualifying, just in case it wants to catch me out. So while we wait for our drivers to head out on the circuit, taking a look to everyone out in the grandstands. A big welcome to everyone. Glad to see you guys here, and welcome for joining. Welcome to RaceFace.Pro. Make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the bell notification icon. And as we see the drivers all pouring out, getting themselves going, Luke Lucchesi being one of the drivers to try and get his name out there as quick as possible, with Timothy Anton. I've got Swester Bear. Does look like my software is a little bit stuck at the moment. Let's see if we can try and get that up and going. So I do apologize for a little bit of technical difficulty, but hopefully that will get it all sorted out. So it does look like we're a bit caught on drivers trying to figure out what on earth is going on, that we're not able to switch through our grid. Kind of a bizarre run there. All right, while we're trying to figure that one out, let's see why this is not working. All right, so while this is currently going on, I'm just going to drop back to our blank screen, try and get our timing screen to work correctly. And show you a bit of the circuit and what's going on, bring a little bit of live audio through as well as Tim the cameraman going to give us some live audio. as our drivers make their way through. Do apologize for the technical difficulties. It seems like I cannot switch around cars for whatever rhyme or reason, despite any use of the software. Okay, so we are going to try one of their suggestions, and that is to exit out of the sim and come back. So I do apologize. We will be back momentarily. Alright, so I do apologize for the delay in broadcast with the current technical difficulties. It has made things rather interesting, as for whatever rhyme or reason I am unable to change drivers, making the software pretty much locked for whatever reason it seems to be. So what we are going to try and do as a sort of fix, and I do apologize once again, as our qualifying is underway, we're going to let the system try and figure its way out on this, and allow Tim, the cameraman, full control of trying to sort it out. Seems like no matter what I was doing, it doesn't seem to behave. So, talking about the qualifying at hand, let's take a look. Luke Lucchese putting himself out into first place. Willem Botha in second place. Jan Fourie, who's currently leading out the championship for our pros, is in third place. And let's see if we can actually bring up those championship points, because it is a rather interesting state as it stands, where we have got our drivers so close to one another in their points. So let's take a look at the points. Our pro standings is Jan Fourie, Willem Botha, Yuri Swart, Luke Lucchese, Noah Hendricks, Chase Harold, Herman Lazarus, Dino Sturman in 8th, and 9th is Werner Skuman. Moving on to our pro-ams. It's Werner Swart, followed by Timothy Stanton, Roland Ferrer, Farney Gravestein, Visti Stalgrad, Nico Killerman, Jeff Hancock, James Pepper, Arno Kraus, Doug Herber, Robbie Teen, Steve Pepper, Hilton Nixon, and Lewis Nokia, rounding out our field for our classes in terms of the championship standing. But out in front, Fourie putting in that 140.3, hoping to get a little bit more pace than Luke Lucchese, who's going to be chasing him down, and so far has put in a respectable time of 140.535, so right on the back of Fourie. Willem Botha, that 140.766 is going to be his charge with Yuri Swart. Yuri Swart's got to get that one right with a 140.911. So really stepping up the pace. Werner Skuman out into 5th place. Doug Herber into 6th, followed by Jeff Hancock, Herman Lazarus, Roland Ferreira, Timothy Stanton, Suez Chabert, and Fanny Gravestein, rounding out our field so far that have been putting in valid lap times. Bear that in mind, valid lap times. We still have Nico Killerman, Arno Kraus, Visti Stolgrad, as we just have a couple of guys starting to put in times. Visti Stolgrad needing to put in time, Robbie Teens and Peter Hubert, along with Paul Herber, is needing to put in times. Big welcome back to Paul Herber, who took a little bit of hiatus after the birth of his daughter. So he's hoping to get a little bit more time in behind the wheel and hope to try and launch his way to the top, which is always incredible to see. So Roland Ferreira out in 10th position and Herman Lazarus in 9th position. It does look like I have a form of control. Can't go wrong with that. It's something at least. But Roland Ferreira trying to get ahead of Farney Gravestein, who is pulling, looks to be one of the cars along. Just trying to see who that might be, that number 22 car behind him. Is that 22? Or may that be Paul Herber? That's quite possibly Paul Herber that's trying to go after him. Out in front, though, as we climb up through the ladder, we do have Johan Fourie leading out the charge. Luke Lucchese out in 2nd place. Willem Botha in 3rd. 4th is Yuri Swart. Jason could see going and rounding out in 5th place at the moment, getting chased down by Nico Killerman, who is coming out of pit lane. Werner Skuman also putting up a bit of a pace. He is behind Nico Killerman, who is leading out the charge for our Pro-Am. So bear that in mind. He is in a little bit of a problem situation. Doug Herber, followed by Jeff Hancock, is in 3rd place. And let's see how that's going to work out for him. As our drivers make their way out onto the circuit. So getting a little bit of tech support from our mates in SDK, who is trying to give me a little bit of an understanding of how to get this all working efficiently, and that we... Oh, it looks like we disconnected. Right. So, having a few fun moments as our qualifying continues. I do apologize once again for the difficulties currently happening little bit infuriating, I won't lie. Peaceful Smooth Music saying, let's go Roland Ferreira. So going and supporting out Roland Ferreira, who is on a proper charge at the moment, trying to move his way forward. Once again, I do humbly apologize for the current issues that have been plaguing the system. Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that stuff like this does happen from time to time. And you can hear me frantically on the keyboard, just trying to get everything back in order. And it does look like we're back into the server as well. So, off to a bit of an interesting start all round, but Johan Ferry out in first place. Remember, he is leading out the championship for our pro class and is trying to get a little bit more pace underneath him. Luke Lucchese, who is in second place, trying to close down, wants to get that little bit of a quicker lap time, but a 140 dead is a very, very difficult time to beat. So Luke Lucchese is going to try and put his foot down on this one. Willem Buerta out in third place. Jason Coetzee down in fourth. Yuri Umpi-Swart is in fifth place. Werner Skuman in sixth. Seventh is Peter Joubert, followed by Nico Killerman, Doe Herber, Timothy Stanton, Jeff Hancock, Herman Lazarus, Arno Kraus, Roland Ferreira down, and it's gone actually down to 15th position as Fanny Gravestein has moved up into 14th. So as our drivers making their way through, Robbie Teens trying to improve his lap time, Suez Joubert, Paul Herber and Visti Stalgrad still down the order at this point, trying to figure out how he can get a little bit more pace underneath him as he looks to also try and get a bit closer. So as our drivers make their way through, Paul Herber, once again a big welcome back after the birth of his daughter, going and giving the man grey hairs, or going and causing grey hairs to come out, is putting in a good qualification time and will be trying to make his way up through the order. Suez Joubert trying to get a little bit more pace underneath him, will be looking to take on the charge. Fanny Gravestein still out on circuit, so Gravestein will be launching his way to the top with Herman Lazarus, who unfortunately collides with the wall right before getting across the line and losing out that bit of time. Timothy Stanton still pushing as hard as he can to try and make up a bit of a lap time. Peter Joubert, who is out on circuit in 7th place. He's chasing down Werner Skuman's time of 1:41.4. Very, very close in times. But Yuri Umpi-Swart up into 5th. Jason Coetzee in 4th place. Willem Buerta in 3rd. Second is Luke Lucchese and Johan Ferry going and making out that top spot. So, gonna be a proper run for our drivers as they look to stand on the gas this time round. But we'll have to see how it all works out this evening for all our drivers. Willem Buerta only managing to get 4th place at this moment as Yuri Umpi-Swart dives into 3rd place. Will be on the proper charge to the front order. Remember, they're going to be doing standing starts, so you will see a lot of these drivers just trying to practice their standing starts while they can without too much of a run. As they fight their way through, this is going to be a great run for our drivers. Paul Herber going and making his way through. And it does look like I have finally got some control over... Oh, there is no smooth operator. There is no smooth operator. But we finally got control, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. With that being said, let's take a look to our grid, as it's been a little bit hectic. Jan Free out in first place, Luke Lucchesi in second place, Yuri Swart in third place. Yuri Swart, Willem Buerta, Jason Coetzee, Werner Skuman, Timothy Stanton, Peter Hubert, Nico Kellerman, Doug Herber, Jeff Hancock, Herman Lazarus. And going through the next set of list, we have got Arne Cross, Farney Gravenstein, Robbie Teens, Roland Ferreira, Suez Jabir, Paul Herber, and Visti Stolgrad going and rounding out our field tonight. And as I said, a little bit of an interesting action. Now, bear in mind, we have got two different classes tonight that are going to be fighting it out. So, we have Ferrari out in first place, leading the championship, needs to maximize points against Luke Lucchesi. Yuri Swart lying in third place, don't count him out. Willem Buerta, also been on that hard charge, will look to take the climb. Jason Coetzee, Werner Skuman, Timothy Stanton lying in seventh place. First of our Pro-Ams looking to take the fight. Remember, this is first of two heats that we have tonight. And with bearing it in Heat 1, as we see Tim, the cameraman, bringing it up, we do have to remind ourselves, the Red Bull Ring, is the final round for our RaceFace.Pro TCR Championship for 2023. So even if you're not in the top echelon, you're not fighting it out for first place, it is game on. This is where you're going to make it. Bragging rights on the line as they rev it up. Green flag, and away they go, heading into turn one. Yuri Swart off to a great start. Luke Lucchesi off to a terrible one. That bottles up Willem Buerta as they make their way through. Now turn one is going to be interesting. It's going to be hard on the brakes for them as Luke Lucchesi tries to force Willem Buerta out wide, not able to get it all together. And here comes Jason Coetzee and Werner Skuman. They are going to fight it out between one another as they get the power down. It does look like Buerta trying to go around the outside, will be stuck on the outside as he goes side by side. And you can see Jason Coetzee looks down the middle as well to try and follow through, and not able to get by, looking to make it three wide, but fight out for the front. Jan Ferrari and Yuri Swart, who are keeping nose to tail on one another. I do want to point out, Little Veloster is going to have a problem with the Audi, who's able to go a fraction later on the brakes, tries to do as much as he can. Couldn't get it all hooked up, but four wide out of the bottom as Willem Buerta nearly losing our position to Jason Coetzee, who moves up. Luke Lucchesi getting caught out. Werner Skuman now looking to take the fight as he's got Peter Hubert all over the back of him. Werner Skuman tries to hold down the inside line. Luke Lucchesi running out a bit wide. That's going to get him a fantastic drive as they go door to door with one another. Lucchesi goes a little bit wide, carries the momentum through. Werner Skuman losing out his drive and allows Peter Hubert to get right onto the back of him. So Peter Hubert is going to push as hard as he can as they fight their way through. Doug Herber and Paul Herber trying to move their ways up through the order. But as our leaders make their way around the circuit, they will be starting their second lap. Remember, 20 minutes of racing. It's all about that charge. And I see Timothy Stanton pulling into the pits. So he got a penalty off the line. And I think that was for a jump start. That would have cost him a fair amount of time. Jason Coetzee dealing with Luke Lucchesi at the moment, right up against his rear bumper. Yuri Swart trying to go after Ferrari, looking to bag a few points in the bag. Willem Buerta keeping Werner Skuman at bay and Peter Hubert. But Nico Kellerman currently leading out the charge of our Pro-Ams, with Doe Herber looking up on the inside. So Kellerman trying to defend as much as possible. Doe sends it up on the inside, hooking down the gears, but just couldn't get the drive. And that allows Herman Lazarus, who is part of our Pro Cars, the cheapercars.co.za driver, now trying to get a little bit more pace underneath him to join the fight. Back up to the front though, first and second place. Jan Ferrari battling it out with Yuri Swart, who tries to look for the inside line, couldn't get it all sorted out, and we'll have to try and figure out what's going to be next for him. Visti Stalgrad, who is making a bit of headroom on Timothy Stanton, who got caught out on the start. So even right at the back of the field, there is drivers giving it their absolute all. Sakurada saying, go Roland, it's not where you finish, it's not about where you start, it's where you finish. Well, Roland Ferreira at the moment is currently lying 13th overall and 4th in class, so he's going to have to go and dig deep if he wants to get the climb. Out in first place, Yuri Swart and Jan Farik running out wide. That is going to be a track limit. They're going to be so careful with those track limits as they battle all the way through. Jason Kutsi and Luc Lecchese also trying to push a little bit harder, but keep an eye on Peter Hubert going side by side with Werner Skuman as they head towards turn 1. A very difficult corner that you got to try and get on the brakes as late as possible. Try and swing it in, down the gears, get your drive, and really pull a bit of a move. Now you're going to have a compromised drive down the straight, so this is going to allow Werner Skuman to get right onto the back of Hubert as they fight it out in class for 6th and 7th, but currently on circuit as well. Side by side they go, very sharp hairpin, and I can almost hear Sainz going and complaining about Perez through the corner, saying he's busy hassling me, please get him off me. So good to see the fight going on. Jan Free taking the inside line, forcing Yuri Umpi-Swart to go around the outside. Umpi-Swart's going to really dig deep on this one. Does get the drive on Free, but just narrowly losing out, having to catch the dirt on the way through. He is properly fighting nose and tail with Free, who's looking to become a 3-time champion in the TCR. First ever pro champion, but he's won the championship twice overall against everyone, so he's looking to go and add to that collection. Yuri Umpi-Swart, though, looking to try and take that away from him, right behind him. Then you've got Jason Kutsi lying in 3rd place, Kezi in 4th, Willem Buerta, Peter Hubert, Werner Skuman, all putting a fight between one another, all of them running within a second. You can see running very wide as well. That's going to compromise drive as Jason Kutsi also getting a terrible drive out of the corner. That is going to allow Luke Kezi slowly gain a bit of time on him. So our closest fights as it stands. Oh, I just see yellow flags being waved to Visti Stalgrad, who had a bit of a problem. Let's see if we can go back. And I think maybe the Audi just not buttoned up as much as it would like to. Goes off circuit. Yep. Rejoining. And I think that was the cause of it. Not having the race he would like. And I do know that Visti Stalgrad actually suffering from COVID at the moment, so get well soon from us to Visti Stalgrad, our international competitor, suffering from COVID, and I think starting to wear thin on him as well. And also saying he's just got tech problems coming into play, so instead of running into problems, he's going to get it back to the mechanics and get it sorted out. So Mr. Stalgrad, it's unfortunate, but you get to see the amazing racing as it stands, as we got side-by-side action, Yuri Umpi-Swart, Jan Fari, and Jason Kutsi. But Mr. Stalgrad, if you are interested, the commentary box is open. If you'd like to say a few words, you're more than welcome to, my friend. You're more than welcome to. It's always a joy. And Jason Kutsi moving himself up into 2nd place ahead of Fari. Fari down into 3rd. Yuri Umpi-Swart up into 1st place. So a change up for position. Jason Kutsi is going to look for the inside line. Couldn't find it. Will have to back out this time around and work out what's going to be the opportunity for him to get past as they fight their way around the circuit. Herman Lazarus also on a monster charge with Nico Killerman right behind him, trying to force a situation to open up. Nico Killerman leading out our Pro-Am. So this fight is actually onto the back of Pro, but he's out there to prove a point. When I actually had a chat to Mr. Killerman, he said that he wants to, next time round, be with the pros. He wants to show that he can fight it out with the pros. Well, looking at Luke Lecchese and Jason Kutsi, who are swapping paint. Jason going to the inside, a big block there. Luke Lecchese having to alter his line, tries to go for a cutback, couldn't make it work, but that allowed Willem Buerta to come back onto him as well. So I've got to say, some very impressive driving, some very late choices right to the end for Jason, but he's going to make it work. He's going to fight it out. as they carve their way through. Going into our Pro-Ams, we've also got some great fighting. Roland Ferreira in a bit of a carnage of himself with Robbie Teens just ahead of him. Robbie Teens trying to get a little bit more drive. Ferreira looks to the inside line, trying to go late on the brakes. He's bringing Paul Herbert through, who tries to go on the inside of Fonnie Gravestein. Does so, got it all sorted out. Ferreira and Teens are going to go door to door with one another. But also take a look, Arno Kraus and Timothy Stanton getting involved in this mix as well. So we have got a fight, not only for our pros, but our Pro-Ams as it stands. Luke Lucchesi allowing Willem Buerta to come by, immediately tries to get right onto the back of that rear wing and try and force the situation out of Buerta. Gotta say, Buerta has been a very interesting driver of late. Been warming up to the car quite a bit from Season 1 to Season 3. He was going and trying to figure out, find his feet with the car, and eventually all starting to work out. Come Season 3, he's really put the fight on to the rest. Taking a look also out there on the grandstands, we got Cameron Nell, and I'm sure he's got his daughter around going and supporting a couple of the drivers saying, I want to be here, I want to be part of this. Doe Herbert going against Jeff Hancock's two teammates that are duking it out. Jeff Hancock and Doe Herbert teamed up for the Fuji 8 hour not so long ago, and they managed to work out each other's tactics. Roland Ferreira, though, is not having any fun, as he's got Robbie Teens and Paul Herbert going and pressurizing him for a mistake. Paul Herbert is going to go around the outside, looking to go 3 wide into the hairpin, backs out of it, not going to happen. Robbie Teens tries to go around the outside, staying absolutely committed to go after Roland Ferreira at the moment. And this is a battle for 4th place within our Pro-Ams. Jeff Hancock and Doe Herbert are just ahead for 2nd and 3rd, so they are really trying to battle it out as it stands. And I've got to say, with a driver been out for so long, like Paul Herbert, who has not touched his sim in months, considering the birth of his daughter and looking after, he had to be a dad. He had to be a dad, going and keeping an eye on the amazing fight. So good to see the guys are properly having a bit of fun out there, and the guys are looking to fight their way through as the order changes. So we got Yuri Swart going and fighting his way through, trying to get a little bit more pace underneath him. Jan Ferree trying to also get a little bit more of a charge. But what stands now, as Ferree needs to get past Yuri Umpi Swart as fast as he can. I see Timothy Stanton's actually had a problem. So let's try and see what happened to Mr. Stanton. He's been just having a bit of a nightmare run, side by side with, I think that is Suez Jabir, and the two of them coming to blows through the final corner. Oh, just minding out the way, but not what you want to have at Heat 1, especially, you know, this close into the end of the championship. You just want to try and get yourself to the end. You want to get over that little bit of a hump, and honestly can't fault him for pushing the boundaries at this point. Some proper racing from all our drivers that look to go and stand the test of time and want to go and walk home with the bragging rights this evening. So Yuri Umpi Swart out in 1st, Jan Ferree out in 2nd, followed by Jason Kutsi, Willem Buerta, who has now got Luke Lucchesi immediately onto the back of him in 5th place. 6th is Peter Joubert, followed by Werner Skuman and Herman Lazarus, and Paul Herbert, who is our pro, last of our pros, fighting it out within the Pro-Ams. Moving on to our Pro-Ams, we got Nico Killerman dealing with Jeff Hancock's Doe Herbert, currently in 3rd place, chasing down Jeff as quick as possible. Roland Ferreira, Robbie Teens, Fonnie Gravenstein, Arno Kraus, Suez Jabir, Timothy Stanton, and Visti Stalgaard rounding out our field as it stands. But for 1st and 2nd overall, and for the pros, matching times that last lap, with Yuri Umpi Swart doing a 140.19 and Jan Ferree doing a 140.11. So he is trying to just get a bit of a faster sector this time around, and we can see the sector times coming up. Could see not getting the same pace as Ferree, but 1st and 2nd between Yuri Umpi Swart and the likes of Jan Ferree so close to one another. Ferree slightly quicker this time around, getting a little bit more movement underneath him, trying to move his way up through the order. But we cannot count out the battle for third place, as Jason Coetzee's now been roped in by Willem Botha and Luke Lucchese. So this is going to turn into a bit of a battle between them, as we've seen all three of these drivers come to blows once before, once, twice, three times more. Jason trying to get the edge up on Willem Botha, who at this point is being pushed along by fellow teammate RDSA driver Luke Lucchese. So the two teammates are working with one another to try and close in on Jason Coetzee up ahead. And Jason Coetzee, the young gun between them, also from RDSA Esports, doesn't seem to be getting the same communication, because he is fighting it out at this point. All of them running out wide, going and getting a few off tracks, not going to help their situation for Heat 1. As Jan Ferree tries his best to go on Yuri Umpiswat. Inside goes for Willem Botha, trying to bait Jason Coetzee into a mistake. Couldn't get it sorted out. Willem does compromise his drive. Luke Lucchese keeping close to him, will be trying to force the situation at hand. Little bit of getting closer and closer for a bump draft. Maybe that is an opportunity for him. Does look to the inside line, backs out of it, second guesses, going for a risky overtake at this point. Gonna rather dial it back and focus on the changes going on. But I do want to talk a bit into our prams. Is Timothy Stanton, who's had a nightmare race, now going after Suez Jabir just ahead of him. So he's trying to close down the distance between them. So good to see, despite everything, he's going to put up the fight. So moving on, we're now getting closer and closer to the 5 minutes left of the race mark, and that is going to be a pressurizing situation for all these drivers. First place of the class gets 50 points. Okay, 50 points in the championship, and bear in mind, our championship is incredibly close. Let's just remind ourselves, currently for our pros who are fighting it out, we got Jan Ferree, who's leading out the charge. Willem Botha, who's currently lying in second place, will gain some valuable points if Ferree makes a mistake. Yuri Umpiswat, currently in third, will capitalize on taking these points home. So we're so close in terms of a championship. None can back out, except Luke Lucchese, who's pulled into the pits. So Luke Lucchese pulling into the pits, but why is that? Possibly from the amount of off tracks may have given him a drive-through penalty. So that has dropped him way down the order and taken him out of the running for our pro category. That's also freed up Jason Coetzee and Willem Botha to go at it, hammer and tongs at one another. Willem Botha tries to close down the distance between them, but not able to do it just as yet. One driver I do want to talk about, Nico Kellerman, first of our Pro-Ams, chasing down Herman Lazarus. These two have been very close, but is currently lying in 8th position overall. So he is within the fight of our pros. Luke Lucchese, who's just come out of the pits after a drive-through penalty, will be having Jeff Hancock's pressurizing him now. Second of our Pro-Ams, with Doug Herber very, very close behind. So those two are going to try and force Luke Lucchese to either move out the way or get a little bit more pace underneath him. Try and pull them a bit closer to Nico Kellerman ahead. So as our drivers fight it out, absolutely hammer and tongs with one another. I do want to apologize for the earlier problems we had in the broadcast, where I was unable to switch cameras and we were switching around. No, it's very disorientating. Big apologies for that one. Very unprofessional of me. Willem Botha dealing with Jason Coetzee, goes side by side, forces Jason to go out wide. You can see those brake discs glowing in the sunshine, and that tells you how much they are just relying on these cars to stop dead, to get them towards those apexes, try and get a little bit more rotation underneath them, as Willem Botha defensive against Jason Coetzee, who does peer for the inside line, backs out of it though, and looks to try and keep up the charge. Very close battle going on. Robert Teenings and the likes of Roland Ferreira door to door as they go side by side. Ferreira put on the outside though. Oh, contact, a little bit of a light rub there, and Robbie Teens will be remembering that as they charge their way through to turn one. Both of them fighting it out currently for 4th of the Pro-Am, So valuable points to be gained for both drivers as teams just getting ahead of Ferreira under braking. Moving back up to our front, Yuri Umpi-Swart dealing with Jan Ferrari. Did look to go side by side. Backed out of it though. Not going to be part of that little bit of a problem under braking. But is going to be an absolutely monstrous run for our drivers. And we'll have to see how it goes on. As our drivers make their way through, and we'll see how it all goes. So, Jan Ferrari, Yuri Umpi-Swart still taking the fight to one another. Willem Buerta dealing with Jason Coetzee as they fight their way through. As they make their way through, Jason Coetzee side by side with Willem Buerta, and trying to make their way around the circuit. Buerta doing everything he can to get a little bit more of a charge this time around as he lines up next to Coetzee. He will be able to go around the outside if he can carry the momentum. Both of them door to door with one another, not backing out. Coetzee just getting a little bit more legs as he powers his way through. Some proper racing between the two. Yuri Umpi-Swart and Jan Ferrari still slugging it out door to door as time is running out for the both of them. Herman Lazarus, I see, landed up, falling off circuit and getting himself back on, so he's having a bit of a difficult time and dropping down the order. But for first place overall and first in class, it is separated by 0.08 at the stand as Yuri Umpi-Swart defending that inside line, forcing Ferrari to go around the outside. Ferrari's going to keep the throttle on. Both of them coming to blows, a little bit of wall banging, and oh, that looks to be netcode. Netcode between the two cars. And that is going to allow Jason Coetzee and Willem Buerta to come by. Little bit of netcode threw the cars off. You could see that daylight between them. But checkered flag will be coming out. Ferrari trying to get his way to the end. Side-by-side contact between Jason Coetzee and Buerta as they come across the line. Bit of carnage behind. Peter Hubert seeing the opportunity, comes past Yuri Umpi-Swart with the damage. Werner Schumann in 6th position. Luke Lucchese, who finishes up in 7th. Nico Killerman will be coming across the line with Jeff Hancock's is 2nd of our primes. Paul Gerber getting ahead of Doug Gerber, but he will be finishing up in 8th position of our pros. Doug Gerber getting onto that final step of the podium for our primes. Herman Lazarus comes across the line, followed by Robbie Teens, Roland Ferreira, Fonny Grevenstein, Timothy Stanton, Arno Kraus, and Suez Jabet as they charge their way through. Visti Solgrad rounding out our field due to mechanical failure. He was not able to continue, and wow, that I did not expect from the race. Hands down, did not expect it, and if anyone else says they expected that, they're completely lying on it. So let's take a look at our results and sort it out for our pros, because that's where it just changed like there was no tomorrow. Jan Ferrari out in 1st place, Willem Buerta in 2nd, Yuri Swartz in 3rd, 4th going to Werner Schumann, Luke Lucchese, Paul Gerber, Herman Lazarus, Jason Coetzee, and Peter Hubert rounding out our pros. Moving to our pro-ams, we have got Nico Killerman, Jeff Hancock, Robbie Teens, Roland Ferreira, Farney Grevenstein, Timothy Stanton, Arno Kraus, Doug Herber, Suez Jabet, and Visti Stolgrad rounding out our field for Heat 1. Joining me in the commentary box is a driver I always love having a chat to, and that is Visti Stolgrad. Visti, how are you, buddy? And welcome to the commentary box. A little bit of a unfortunate race on your side, something going wrong. Maybe you can give us a bit of insight.
Yeah, we have a problem with the steering wheel with the Audi, but we should have fixed it by now. But we got some loose wiring, so we have fixed that. And instead of being on the track where we could collide with other cars and do damage and stuff, we decided to get the car back to the pit and take it in for inspection, and we fixed the problem. So we're gonna be back for heat number 2 and hopefully gain some positions here in the final race.
Well, I mean, you've got some valuable points on the cards. You've been a consistent finisher, which is always great to see. Taking a look at everything that's gone on, could you have expected that type of result with the guys coming to blows with one another, especially right at the end, and also the Pro-Am class being a little bit shaken up this time around? Remember, you're 5th in the championship. So Fani Gravestein, Roland Ferreira, Timothy Stanton, all having their own little bits of issues, has brought them down in the points. It does allow you an opportunity to go for a climb, considering you're only 6 points behind Fani Gravestein heading into this round, our final round of our TCR championship right here at RaceFace.Pro Season 3.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna try my best to climb the last position, and I don't think a pole position would not be possible at all. But I'm gonna try to see if I can take Gravenstein here on the last round. But he's a good driver as well, and yeah, we will see what happens. But I'm gonna give him a fight for it.
And how has it been out there? If you think about the race itself, the championship, it's been to and fro. You got to compete against drivers that you haven't had much experience competing against, but you've really proven yourself time and time again. What's your thoughts of everything and being around the competitors and seeing how busy the scene is?
It's have been a very fun first season for me here in TCR at RaceFace.Pro. It has been very fun. It's a competitive field that we drive in, and I think I'm gonna stay in the AM field also for the next couple of seasons. But I think the driver are respectful, and they, you know, sometimes they collide, but all in all, we have a good field. We talk nice to each other, and there's room for everyone. So it's a very good league, I think.
Well, Visti,
overall, and the races have been good.
Visti, before I let you go, I want to ask from your side. I mean, we don't get to, we know the voice. We get to see the driver, but give us a bit of history of who Visti is and where's your sim racing come from and where it all started.
Yeah, actually, I'm a race mechanic in a Danish series called GTC, who was like the biggest Scandinavian like series. I was a race mechanic for one of the drivers there. And of course the driver got a sim, but we also got some sims for the mechanics, so we like practice a lot in those. And after he was done with that, we moved to TCR here in Denmark and drove that like in real life. So I've been a mechanic of some of the cars that we are driving, and now I don't have time for that anymore because of family life and stuff. So now I'm racing sim against online drivers. So that's how I got into sim racing. And yeah, I'm just like your usual Scandinavian boy with brown hair and you know stuff like that.
I wouldn't say usual with a repertoire like that. I think it's absolutely, you know, fantastic, you know, to being able to look at these cars and say, hey, look, worked on them. I mean, what do you think of iRacing's cars? Is it closer to what the real cars are? Do you think there's some differences, or do you think they've got sort of down packed of what these cars are?
I think it's very close. It's like 90 or 80% like real life. The only thing that isn't here is like, you know, the G-force is a lot different when you're driving a car, because, you know, you have to turn the car while your G-force is pushing your whole body and all your guts and inside and stuff. So it's harder in real life, but the force feedback and the way you can feel the ground and stuff, it's very much like the real world. So it's almost the same, unless you don't have the environmental like G-force and wind and noise and stuff in iRacing.
All right, final question. Favorite corner on Red Bull Ring? What do you go for?
Number one. I think it's tricky and fun, and I love to head down there with like 20 people and just see what happens and see if everyone can make it through.
Fair enough.
If they drive perfectly. But yeah, if you guys know him, then I raced with Jan Magnussen as well. He's kind of a known guy. It's Kevin Magnussen's father.
I've
so
heard and seen bits and pieces. Okay, so wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna
Thank you.
leave you be. I'm gonna leave you be for Heat 2. Good luck. And
Thank you.
honestly, it's an honor to have you racing with us. It's an honor to talk to you and finally get to know a little bit of the history. New Visti Stalgrad is. Have a good one out there, and I can't wait to chat to you right after the race. If you feel chatty enough.
Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely great. Thank you. Wow. I don't know what to say other than how's that? We talk about our drivers that we see out on the circuit right here for the RaceFace.Pro, but to have drivers coming from overseas that actually worked on the TCR cars, been a part of the racing history, I think Devin Ellis is also agreeing. Damn! It's a little bit of a repertoire we've got there. But it's time for Heat 2. It's time for the final round. And busy trying to see where we've got our drivers jumping in. As we've got our drivers looking to battle it out once again. Also just getting hold of Gary Fleming, see if he can register for the race, as he will be coming to have a bit of fun. First time out at RaceFace.Pro. So, Peter Hubert, followed by Robbie Teens, and then you have got Willem Botha, Herman Lazarus, Swayze Jabir. Talking about a couple of drivers with a bit of repertoire, we want to just give a bit of a shout out, and I'd like the crowd. Many drivers know Janneman Price, fellow teammates of mine, fellow commentator, and a voice that everyone knows. Unfortunately, having a bit of a difficult time at the moment, so from RaceFace.Pro, from all of us, I'd like to say, keep a stiff upper lip, mate. You're doing well, and I'd like everyone to, in the chat, in the grandstands, give us a bit of a strong arm, show your support that to Janneman Price, because his family and himself is going through a bit of a tough time, and I think it's well worth to just go and say good luck, and we behind you. So if I can ask everyone, special favor. I've asked many favors over the course of this year. One is hitting 1,000 subscribers out on the channel, but that will be my final. I want to see all the strong arms, all the hearts to Janneman Price and his entire family that are going through a bit of a tough time at the moment. So, cars heading out onto the circuit, ready to have a bit of fun. Take a look who's out there. Now, a name that many people will be wondering, who is this chap? Just joining us, final race of 2023 for our TCRs. Final race for our Season 3 that will be having our champion. We have got a guy out here, Gary Fleming, for anyone that doesn't know who he is. A commentator that has been around for a huge amount of time in the oval racing scene, in the circuit scene, been the voice of Kalani, along with many others, but he's been the mainstay voice and heading up Second Gear Productions. This is his first time out on the track with the TCR car. Spoke to him beforehand. He said, the main thing I want to do is keep going. I want to make this. I want to finish this. I'm going to do well. So, other drivers that are out there. Troy Dolenchik is back out on circuit. Nico Killerman, Jeff Hancox, Luke Lacaze, Yuri Umpi Swart, Doe Kerber, Jason Kutsi, Peter Hubert, Robbie Teens, Visti Stalgrad. Gotta say, still blown away with everything there. Willem Botha, Herman Lazarus, Swayze Jabir, Johan Free, Werner Skuman, Timothy Stanton, Barney Gravenstein, Roland Ferrer, Paul Huber, and Arno Kraus. Rounding out our field, tonight, for the final time, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, our final qualifying for our RaceFace.Pro TCRs for 2023. This is going to be absolutely fire for everyone out there. We did see a huge upset, and I actually looked over to our chats on that go in for the pits, and you know, Jan Free getting a sorry from Yuri Umpiswat, saying sorry for the contact there, well deserved, and it was due to netcode. I have to agree on that, but still, what a proper run between them, and I'm looking forward to that battle once again. And despite having netcode now, for anyone that we go out, Chase Herald saying, can we get it on board for the laps, onboard lap, please? Yes, we can. I think we can do that with just perfection. And let's see if we can try and get a bit of a cockpit cam. Why don't we do something a bit special? As we got Troy Dolanchik, who's behind the wheel. And let's go from the roll bar as we join Troy Dolanchik make his way through. So this is going to be he's done his warm-up, now got a bit of heat into the tires. You can see fighting his way through the final corner. Will be looking to try and push the Sujin driver, hoping to get a bit more momentum. I think he's run a little bit wide through that final corner, and let's see if it'll count on the board. So heading down into turn one, or up into turn one, as they fight their way under braking, a little bit of a slide over the curb, keeping it in fourth, not to run it too far over the sausage curb, don't want to hurt the car too much, carry the momentum through into fifth gear. You're going to start heading towards sixth, bringing those revs all the way up into our turn three, because the turn two is a little kink. Going to go hard on the brakes, sharp right hand curb, you're going to swing it in, open it up really early, try and straighten it out as quick as possible. Can do some really late braking maneuvers through there, actually dropping into second, dive on the inside and get on the throttle. But third gear carries a bit more momentum if you're stuck on the outside. Now into turn four, keep it in fifth. You don't want to jump it to sixth, then into fifth, and then into fourth, third, because you're just taking up too much time. Rather hang it in fifth all the way through, gets past. Now this is the section I absolutely adore. Feather the throttle through, down a gear, allow yourself just to bring the revs up nice and gently, a little bit over the curb. And now it's just about putting the power on. Soon as you see the curbs on the left hand side, a little bit later this time around, keep it absolutely planted on your way through. Now you're going to be heading towards the final corners. This is where it gets a bit tricky. Double right-hander that you don't want to push too far wide. So carry the momentum down into fourth gear. Keep the revs high, fourth into fifth. Don't want to go too far wide. Down a gear. Make sure you just clip the sausage curb on the right-hand side. Get onto the power and charge your way through to the end. And you can see with the likes of Troy Dolanchik pushing out the boundaries a little bit more. And I do want to point out, hasn't set a valid lap time. That's cost him a fair amount of time. As we take a look at Free heading into turn one, going to be late on the brakes. Hoik it in over the curbs, runs out very wide. You'll see very much like our Polo Cup and Touring Cup, where you've got to just hammer those curbs. You've got to be a little bit more rough with the car, shove it through the corners, ensuring that you can get by. Do not back out. Now into our turn three, late on the brakes, down into third gear, actually dropping down into first. So first, second, got a little bit of a slower drive there into third. So not carrying all the momentum through, actually bringing the revs up that he's buzzing the motor right before them. Not too good for a motor to go a long time, but he's going to try and carry as much momentum through. Third gear, runs out a little bit wide. Watch out for that washout understeer that happens. And if you're too close, you actually get a bit of a washout from the car ahead of you. 50-meter mark, lift, down a gear, carry the momentum gently on the throttle. Hanging a third gear instead of fourth, very different as they fight their way through. So, gonna be a proper little run. This is gonna be a interesting race for our drivers as they make their way through. Devin Ellis, are we getting a pit wall next season? pit wall? Are you looking for live timing? If only there was a way that we could bring live timing to you right now with a click of a button. I wonder what we can do. I got an idea. Ladies and gentlemen, there's some live timing for you. So you can keep an eye on all the sectors, all the drivers, and see the classes that are fighting it out. So Johan Free leading out our classes and first overall as he tries to get a little bit more momentum. So keep an eye out on Jan Free leading the charge. He has got Yurion Piswat in second place. Troy Dolenchik currently in third. Timothy Stanton in fourth. Willem Buerta in fifth position. Sixth, Werner Skuma and Peter Jubé in seventh position. Eighth is Nico Kilman, following Gravestein in ninth, who actually loses out to Robbie Teen. So this is going to be a proper little car. And Chase actually saying the Audi is a DSG gearbox. Other cars are sequential. So a bit of an interesting one there. Chase, actually, I would like to have a chat to you. So if you can come over to the RaceFace.Pro Discord, go to the community commentary box. I'd actually like to have a chat with you, because for anyone that doesn't know Chase Herald is a phenomenal driver in Polo Cups. He's worked tremendously hard on front wheel drives and can give us a bit of an understanding of how it is to race front wheel drive vehicles, and also getting to race against some of the drivers that you see out on the circuit right here as well. So Chase Herald Racing, or Chase Herald, you're more than welcome. It's always good to have a chat to you. Timothy Stanton out in fourth place. He is on a proper little charge. The Elantra getting a little bit more pace. Gotta say, the Elantra a little bit more settled through the long right-handers versus the quick sweeps, where you see the Veloster is a little bit better. But joining me in the box right at the start, and that is Mr. Chase Herald. Chase, welcome to the RaceFace.Pro commentary box, especially here for the TCR Championship. Honestly, fantastic to have a chat to you. You've been racing front-wheel drives for years and years and years and working on these cars. Give us a bit of an insight of what the drivers will be facing, especially with a very warm circuit of RedBull Ring.
Yeah, it's good to be here. It's a tough one, this track. It's a high-speed track, so big thing is tyre life with these cars. Actually was in a Discord chat with Luke, and he's asking me, like, cars doesn't have front end, so you got to compromise. You can give the car front end, but then you're going to lose the rear end grip, and you're not going to get the drive out the corner, and that's so these guys are going through quite a big process of what direction they want to go in. Do they want to go more front end or more rear end? And yes, the track's getting hotter and hotter. The more laps they put in, the hotter the track's getting as it goes. So tire temps are going up, more wheel spin, less tire life.
Now, you brought up in the chat something very interesting of the Audi actually having a DSG gearbox versus everyone else running a sequential gearbox. For any layman at home that's a little bit confuzzled with those terms, can you give us a quick rundown of what the difference is between a DSG gearbox and a sequential?
Yeah, so DSG is like a direct shaft gearbox. That's why you see the ratios are very different in the Audi compared to the Hyundai, the Honda, and that. So like Umpi and Troy, they're having to be in third gear, where like Johan Fury and Willem Buerta are having to be in first or second gear. So they've got that punch out the corner, but they have to modulate a wheel spin, where the Audi doesn't have that problem. They've actually got the car, you call it bogging, it struggles to get out the corner because the ratio is too long.
Very interesting, especially with front wheel drives. The last thing you want to have is the cars bogging down. You want to try and get as much momentum as possible, and especially with these cars, it's all about momentum. You don't have that massive power underfoot like you see in your GT3 cars. You don't have the extremely nimble Formula Ford, Formula V, even the Formula 1600s, or comparing to our Formula 4s that race in the evening. These cars require a different level of skill that's needed to get them around the top. They fun cars, but at the same time, not an easy car. It's an easy car to drive, difficult car to master, if I can say that.
It's not forgiving. It's not a very forgiving car. If you make a slight mistake, you're losing about half a second in a corner. Then it's the level these guys are at and the pace they're doing. It's not easy. I myself raced with these guys, and I will put in at least a day's worth of practice trying to get to the pace, and I'll be fine. And you get Troy hasn't even done practice. If you noticed, it wasn't even for race one. Umpi was the same. They just rocked up and they just banging out the lap times. I'm going like, how are you doing it? I'm sitting here all day, every day, in my free time to put in the times to do the times they're doing. So the level that they're at, it's insane to keep up with them.
Well, when you say free time, that's very limited. For anyone that doesn't know Chase Herald Racing, give us a bit of an understanding of what you actually do. And feel free to punch it out there. You've given us some amazing insights into these cars, especially in terms of gearbox ratios, how they work. Tell us what Chase Herald does. And
Yes.
it's good to get a bit of history on you.
It's I used to race myself. I still do every now and then if I get a gap and have a car given to me to race. I've been racing since the age of 5, and I've gotten to the point where I've enjoyed my time racing, and I want to give back to those who deserve to run in the front and that want to pursue to go for championships. So I started my own business, which is CHR, Chase Herald Racing, and I run 6 cars on a race day, and it's all GTI Challenge cars. It's Cape Town series here in South Africa. We actually fought with Umpi in a championship with a 1 point difference to the end. I'm running the likes of Tate Bishop, multiple karting champion. John Henry Vaughan is another youngster that's also a great driver. And these guys are doing their absolute best to put the cars in front, and I've got the job of giving them the best of the best setup, the best of the best preparation, and that goes for any other cars. It's not just front wheel drive. It goes for BMs, sports cars. It's my trade. I run and build race cars.
And also getting into the world of sim racing, you're giving a bit of insight and support as well in the world of sim racing, which isn't an easy thing to do, that transition, but you've taken it full grasp. Not only have you been participating throughout this year, you've also, as pointed out, going and chatting to the guys. How has that transition been from real world to sim, especially in the world of now jumping into cars that you do know rather well, which is our front wheel drive TCR cars?
Yeah, it's definitely a different ball game. It's not 110% the same. It's like 80%. But once you know the basic rule of thumb and in what's set up to do, and especially the front wheel drive cars, you kind of got it waxed. You know where to go. Like Luke Lucchesi, I've been helping him throughout the season with setups, and earlier he gave me a call and asked for some help. And if you can just get, like I said, the raw basic done, then it's alright. It's easy. And I think iRacing is also a great factor. Like I've learned some stuff of iRacing that I've actually tried on a car before, and it's worked. We've actually been surprised, especially COVID time. That's a perfect example for those that think sim racing doesn't help. I come from an oval background. I never used to, when I went to the main circuit scene, I never was able to left foot brake. It was an unnatural feel for me, but in oval racing, it was natural to left foot brake. And then when COVID hits, I said to myself, no, you must left foot brake, teach yourself. And when we went back to the track after the COVID lifted and that, it became a natural thing to left foot brake going through turn 3 and 4 at Colonia. And I felt it was faster because you're not having to take your foot off the throttle, touch the brake. You've got 2 feet, you know what I mean?
Absolutely incredible. Well, Chase, it's always an honor to have you in the box. It's always fantastic. I know that the race is going to be starting. Yuri Umpi-Swart in second place, Troy Dolenchik in first, Luke Lucchesi in fourth, chasing down Johan Faries, looking to make yet another championship run. Our pro-ams with Timothy Stanton up in seventh place. He's way ahead of Robbie Teens. I know you're going to be keeping a very close eye on things, but for anyone that wants to get in touch with Chase Herald, go look up Chase Herald Racing out on Facebook. Go and get hold of Chase if you would like to get a bit of work done on the cars. Highly suggest it. And I think I'm going to also give you a bit of a shout. Maybe I can get 1 or 2 seconds. It does take me about 4.5 minutes to get around RedBull Ring.
Yeah, you're putting in the laps. That's the big thing. If you're not putting the laps, you're not trying.
You see. Now that's the problem. Okay. Figured it out. How much do you charge? Do I send my credit card number to you now or later?
We talk about after the times.
Absolutely awesome. Thank you very much, Chase Herald, and absolutely incredible stuff. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that being said, let's take a look at our grid that we have this evening, because it's a bit of an interesting one, as we've got Troy Dolanchik leading out the top, Yuri Swat in second. We did hear that there is a little bit of a difference in terms of gear ratios. Whether that's of benefit or not will only tell come the end of the race. Final heat for 2023 of our TCRs. I've got to say, really looking forward to this one. Love that's around RedBull Ring, something different to the usual free tracks that we've had all season long, except for Barber Motorsports. That was also a new track. Got to say, enjoyed the circuit. But I think there's many others that are very thankful that the giant spider is left off in the dust. So let's take a look to our grid. Troy Dolanchik out in first place. Yuri Swat in second place. Jan Free, Luke Lucchesi, Jason Coetzee, Willem Buerta, Timothy Stanton, Paul Herbert, Peter Hubert, Werner Skuman, Robbie Teens, Nico Killerman, Jeff Hancock, Herman Lazarus, Roland Ferreira, Doug Herber, Fanny Govenstein, Arno Kraus, Visti Stalgaard, followed by Gary Fleming and Swayze Joubert rounding out our field. Gary Fleming just to arrive and drive. First time out, making his debut run here tonight. Gotta say, had a brilliant chat with him when it originally was before the time. So looking forward to seeing him now performing in a race, not only just commentating on it. Troy Dolanchik out in first place. Yuri Swat in second, looking to try and take the charge after him. Jan Ferree looking to go and relive the magic, get that top position, walk away with the championship. Well, it's going to be all on the line, ladies and gentlemen, right here at RedBull Ring. Lights are on for the final time for our TCRs 2023. 4, 5, and away we go. Yuri Swat not off to the greatest of starts this time around. A little bit better than Luke Lucchesi. But as Jan Ferree dives him into third place, Willem Buerta going on the defense, trying to look up on the inside. Couldn't get it all sorted out. Paul Herber getting run down a little bit wide by Jason Coetzee as they fight their way through. A bit of contact behind. Bit of carnage going on in the background. And it looks like Nico Killerman and Jeff Hancock came to blows with one another. But out in front, Troy Dolanchik dealing with Yuri Swat, who's now stuck on the inside, trying to defend from Ferree. And we heard about the difference in gearboxes. Let's see how it's going to play into effect now, as Swat just managing to get a little bit more of a line. Luke Lucchesi trying to come back at him into the toe with Willem Buerta. Jason Coetzee immediately onto the back of him as well. Paul Herber and Werner Skuman are going at each other, along with Timothy Stanton, who's fighting it up with our pros. He's trying to get ahead of Robbie Teens as a little bit of side-by-side moments go. Paul Herber losing out that little bit of a drive. Side-by-side moments between Jan Ferree and Yuri Swat as they go door-to-door against one another, not backing out of it. And Luke Lucchesi now closing down onto them. We'll be trying to figure out where he can go. Maybe to try look on the inside, maybe to look on the outside. We'll see how that's all going to work. Tim, the cameraman, trying to bring as much of the action as possible. But Luke Lucchesi's view at the moment is not going to be the greatest as he's staring down, looks for the inside line, backs out of it. Going to rather follow Ferree through. Bit of contact with Buerta, though, who went over his nose, and that caused a bit of a spin. So Buerta down the order, and that will impact his race severely at this point as they march their way through. Taking a look further down the order, Timothy Stanton dealing with Werner Skuman, who is lying at 7th place of our pros, going after Timothy Stanton, leading out our pro-ams. Roland Ferreira trying to make a little bit more moves. Robbie Teens trying to come back. Herman Lazarus out fighting it, and Visti Stalgaard, after having those mechanical problems, still out pushing as hard as he can. Dirk Herber, Fanny Govenstein, Jeff Hancock dealing with Gary Fleming, who went and lost out a little bit of a drive, but Gary is going to push as hard as he can as they got Peter Hubert just ahead of him, who's a little bit down the order. Peter Hubert trying to unlap himself, sees that Jeff Hancock has got a bit of damage on that front nose, going to back out of it. But Gary Fleming now looking to try and pull himself a bit closer, and he's pulling Nico Killerman at the moment. Arno Kraus and Willem Buerta in the pits, getting themselves sorted out after some unfortunate contacts for Heat 2. Yuri Impi-Swart dealing with Free immediately onto the back of him. Free trying to make those final points count. Troy Dolanchik, though, looking to walk away as quick as possible from the field as he doesn't want to get caught in this battle. Yuri Impi-Swart and Free are both fighting it out for first place in the championship. And it's all on the cards between the two of them. We saw them come to blow in Heat 1. And now, for the final time of 2023, for our TCRs, our Tin Top Racing, they are going door to door, battling it out. And this time, it's not going to be an easy run for them. Timothy Stanton, though, dealing with Werner Skuman and Paul Herber immediately on the back of him. Now, remember, Timothy is first of our Pro-Am class, dealing with the two pros. They are pushing as hard as he can. I see Doug Herber landing up with a bit of a problem. He's actually pulled into the pit lane, but take a look at Paul Herber hunting to try and get past Skuman. Skuman lines himself up, looking to go around the outside of Timothy Stanton. Couldn't quite get it all checked out, unless he can get it under braking. Looks like he just managed to get ahead. Timothy locking down and keeping Paul Herber at bay. Back out to our front, though, it's Jan Ferry ahead of Yuri Impi-Swart, managing to get past him, but just at this point, that is going to help him out on the long charge to try and get a little bit more momentum past. Not going to be an easy time for the likes of Yuri Impi-Swart as he tries to look for the inside line. Ferry going to keep pressurizing him at this point and ensuring they can't get through. Luke Lucchese immediately gaining a bit of time, gets right onto the back of them, and he's pulling the likes of Jason Coetzee at the moment, who is on a hard charge to claw his way up through the order. So, Robbie Teens out in first place of our Pro-Ams, who's managed to break away from Timothy Stanton. So Timothy lost out that little bit of drive. He's got Herman Lazarus onto the back of him, but it does look like a battle for first and second in our Pro and in our Pro-Ams. Troy Dolanchik trying to open that distance, but Jan Ferry dealing with Yuri Impi-Swart. Luke Lucchese now coming into the fray of things as they go fighting it out in toe in hand. Luke Lucchese trying to just keep under the rear wing of Yuri Impi-Swart, not able to do it just as yet. Yuri Impi-Swart having that DSG gearbox, but also being in one of the oldest cars in the iRacing service, up against the more modernized Elantra, Veloster and Honda Civic as they fight their way through. So Yuri Impi-Swart trying to just get a little bit of momentum, a slight bit of contact there, nothing to write home about, but just enough to let Ferry know that he is coming at a rate of knots. Up into fifth place, though, that has climbed 6 positions, is Gary Fleming, and this is his first outing. Visty Stalgrad up 7 positions from where he started, and is doing a phenomenal job of gaining a little bit of pace. So let's take a look through the order as it stands. Troy Dolanchik leading out our pros, followed by Yuri Impi-Swart, Jan Ferry, Luke Lucchese, who is really up on the inside, trying to force a mistake at this point. Jason Coetzee in 5th place, Paul Herber and Werner Skuman, followed by Herman Lazarus, Peter Hubert, and Willem Buerta rounding out our pros. Moving on to our Pro-Ams, though, it is Robbie Teens dealing with Timothy Stanton, trying to look up on the inside. Does take a monstrous look up on the inside. Herman Lazarus just watching this little fight go on as they fight their way through our Pro-Ams, not holding back on one another. 3rd place of our Pro-Ams is Fani Gravestein, followed by Visty Stalgrad in 4th. Then 5th place, Gary Fleming, along with Nico Kilman trying to chase him down. Doug Herber, Jeff Hancox, Arno Kraus, Roland Ferreira, and Swayze Jabir rounding out our Pro-Am field as it stands. But back up to the front, Yuri Impi-Swart dealing with likes of Ferry, is able to get him in a straight line. But now Luke Lucchese trying to get a little bit more of a chase right onto the back of him. And Luke Lucchese is going to try and force a mistake out of Ferry under braking. Goes in a little bit deep, couldn't get it all sorted out. We'll have to try and figure out what's going to work for him. Doug Herber moving up in position as Nico Kilman pulls into the pits. So he's getting himself sorted out there. Closest fight on the circuit is between the likes of Ferry and Luke Lucchese as it stands, as they're both trying to get that little bit more momentum underneath them and hope to just try get one up through the championship. Robbie Teens and Herman Lazarus, they are fighting it out. 2 different classes though, and Robbie Teens focusing on just keeping up a solid charge ahead of Timothy Stanton. Luke Lucchese still losing out a little bit of time through the middle sector. Doesn't seem to be as hooked up compared to the likes of Yuri Piswat and Jan Ferrari as it stands through the middle sector. Makes it up through the first sector under braking. So he's able to go for that very, very late, tight corners. But anything beyond that becomes a bit of a hassle for him as they try and carve their way around the order. Troy Dolanchik opening up the gap. Not doing too bad of times, but I do want to point out last lap time was a 140.15. Yurian Piswat came back at him with a 139.98, and Jan Ferrari taking the fastest lap time of the race with a 39.81 as he comes across the line. Luke Lucchese doing a 140.70. So interesting to point out there, Dolanchik may be ahead, but his lap times are not going and reflecting as much. So it's a good idea to see how they're going to work out. Very close battle going on. Want to give him a bit of it. Love is this 3-car train. Robbie Teens, Timothy Stanton, and Herman Lazarus fighting it out. Herman Lazarus is in the pro class, trying to go on the inside of Timothy Stanton, who sends it really hard up on the inside of Robbie Teens. Couldn't get past, but what a send of note. And I think both of them just waited to hear the crunch against the door, hoping that it will not be the case, as it all turns out okay right at the end. Another little fight that's going on. Gary Fleming having, that looks to be Doug Herber getting past him under braking. So Gary really trying to push hard to get into the toe as Doug Herber passed under braking. So let's actually take a look at that. Gary Fleming trying to line himself up on the outside. Has to go out a little bit wide as Doe, big send on the inside. Gary tried going for a cutback, but was just a little too far back to be able to go for that pass. Troy Dolanchik though, opening up the distance. A 39.7 was his last lap. Yuri Piswat a little bit more defensive this time around, dealing with Ferrari and Luke Lucchese, gaining a little bit of time on him. For our Pro-Am, so Robbie Teens dealing with Timothy Stanton right on the back of him. So our Pro-Am's now starting to take over the fight with Herman Lazarus so close right behind him. Herman Lazarus does look for the inside. He then decides to keep right behind Timothy Stanton. He's not going to push all too hard, but Timothy Stanton with a massive outbraking moment loses out the drive to Herman Lazarus and compromises his drive to go after Robbie Teens, who's currently leading out the Pro-Ams. And this is the interesting part about having these different class championships, that anything can happen as they fight their way through. So let's actually see if we can go back and take a look at what happened at this is Robbie Teens. Went off circuit, ran out wide, compromised his drive. That allowed the likes of Timothy Stanton to try and come back at him. Timothy does look to the inside, swaps out of it, will go on cockpits. Oh, very late under braking, couldn't get it all sorted out, does run himself out very wide. So just a display of effort, trying to make a bit of an effort to get past. Unfortunately compromises his drive into turn 1, throws him out of that fight. Herman Lazarus now starting to put the pressure on, but keep in mind Timothy Stanton will be watching his rearview mirrors. PDB trying to close down the distance. Back up to the front order. Yurian Piswat dealing with Ferrari as they carve their way through, running 0.6 of a second as they make their way around the track. 12 minutes done and dusted of this race. The final little bit as they make their way through. Currently Troy Dolanchik leading out the order with Yuri Piswat in second place. Jan Ferrari, Luke Lucchese, Jason Kutsi, Paul Gerber, Werner Skuman lying in 7th in class, along with Herman Lazarus in 8th in class, Peter Hubert in 9th in class, and is pointing in the wrong direction. So what on earth happened to Hubert? Let's see, this is heading into turn 1. He's keeping an eye on Timothy Stanton. And Herman Lazarus, oh, tried taking a void, went over the curb, and that was all she wrote. A little bit too tight, a little bit too much pace, got a bit of front end damage to that car, and did everything he could to try and avoid contact, unfortunately getting thrown into the wall in the process. So he's got a bit of work to climb his way back. Timothy Stanton, Robbie Teens having a good run at one another, trying to fight it out. Both of them are fighting for first in class. Both of them are looking to walk away with some valuable points. Herman Lazarus, though, who is just enjoying the racing at this point, is going to be taking the fight against his mates and enjoying the race as it stands. Farney Gravestein, though, will need to also keep a very close eye. He's running third in class, but Visti Solgrad is right behind him. There is a bit of a point difference due to not being able to finish the race, but if Visti Solgrad can walk away with some valuable points, he would take it. Peter Hubert is still going to keep up the charge, and you can see that front end not liking him. Doug Herber pulling a gap away from Gary Fleming, who's making his way around the circuit. The Second Gear Productions host now trying to keep it all together, sliding his way around the corner, doing a great job to try and make up a bit of time. Timothy Stanton looks up on the inside of Robbie Teens, and Herman Lazarus tries to do a bit of a cutback on him as they march their way through. This is a three-car train. Robbie Teens, Timothy Stanton, though, are fighting for position. Herman Lazarus, though, is lying in our pro category overall, though, lying in 10th place. So Herman Lazarus wants to get out of that 10th place. It's looking at 9th. You can see he can get a little bit closer to Timothy Stanton and Robbie Teens. Yuri Ompi-Swart, though, actually gaining a little bit of time and has now got Free immediately onto the back of him. These two are still fighting it out for the championship, and as it stands, if Free can keep up the pace, he will be able to finish the championship ahead of Yuri Ompi-Swart, but only by just. It is going to be only by just. Honestly, this is gonna be a proper little fight. Jan Free right up against the back of Yuri Ompi-Swart. It's gonna try and force him into a mistake into turn one. The Audi versus the Veloster. And I've got to say, personally, I enjoy the Veloster, the way it drives, but when it comes to the long right-handers, does run into a bit of an issue. A change up for our Pro-Am position, though. Robbie Teens side-by-side with Timothy Stanton, does outbrake himself a little bit. Timothy Stanton tries to come back at him, just couldn't get the momentum. That will be trying to keep into the toe. Herman Lazarus really trying to force a mistake as well. So we have got a battle for second and third of our pros and for first and second of our Pro-Ams as they take their way around the circuit. Time running out, under 5 minutes to go left of this race. Under 5 minutes left for the final TCR race of the year for RaceFace.Pro, and you want to walk away with points this season. You want to make it happen as Timothy Stanton runs out wide. Robbie Teens dives up on the inside. Great pass. As they go side by side. They're fighting it out for class, but they are doing everything they can. Here is a bit of a replay. You can see Robbie Teens locking it up on the inside. Gets it past, forcing Timothy Stanton out wide. The Timothy Stanton machine not able to get that little bit of momentum. The Roland Manifolds Racing fighting it out as they go and battle it out. Oh, contact with Herman Lazarus, and that is Stanton out of the order. Herman Lazarus having a little bit of a moment. So, getting asked, what is the point difference? Well, taking a look at our pro, and let's see our points beforehand. Going into the race, Jan Fourie leading out the charge with 277 points. Willem Botha on 226. Yuri Ompi-Swart on 148. But if Yuri Ompi-Swart can score this 50, it's going to work out to them. Moving on to our Pro-Am, though. Don't count out our Pro-Ams. That's going to be another interesting little fight. As Werner Swart, who's not here this evening, is on 296. But Timothy Stanton, who just got a little bit out, is lying second in the championship, with Roland Ferreira lying in third. So he's trying everything at this point to ensure he puts enough spacing between himself and third place. So this is going to impact the race on the way through, who's going to have the championship running for it. But Jurian Pisot, Jan Free looking to get a bit more momentum. Luc Lucchesi is also within the fight for our Pro Championship, and he wants to get a little bit more pressure onto these drivers. He wants them to run into a mistake as we start running out of time for the final race of 2023 for our RaceFace.Pro TCR Championship Season 3, and it is nail-biting right the way through, just when you think you're safe. Remember, first place in class gets you 50 points. Alright, so that does come into the mind. You've got 50 points if you come into first place. That being said, you have to get into first, and that is not the easiest way to do it. Second place of our points will be 43 points, third getting you 38, fourth 35, and it continues all the way down until 32nd position, where you can still score a single point. So it doesn't matter, even if you're in second, you can still make up a lot of time. Robbie Teen's coming across the line, and he's having an easier drive. Fonny Gravestein, though, Gravestein going and getting himself into second place. Herman Lazarus is into the pits. Timothy Stanton trying to get a little bit more drive as Peter Hubert comes across the line, chasing him down. Visti Solgrad will also be making up a position over Lazarus. Doug Herber will be making up a position, and Gary Fleming at this point will be able to make up a position. Nope, Herman Lazarus coming out. Never mind. Gary Fleming tried. It's just a little bit too far back. Fight out down to the wire, though. It is going to be an outright charge. Jurian Pisot, Jan Ferry still going and doing everything they can. Checkered flag will be at the ready for Troy Dolenchek, who has just done enough. 3 seconds ahead of this battle for second place overall. Fighting it out, Jurian Pisot with a 39.6 on his last lap, the fastest lap of the race, has got Ferry pressurizing him. Troy Dolenchek takes the checkered flag. He finishes in first. Jurian Pisot just ahead of Johan Ferry. So absolutely tremendous, tremendous stuff. But I think Ferry has done enough to score the win for Season 3 in our Pro class. And looking at the unofficial results, I think we can safely say congratulations, Johan Ferry, for taking the championship, the final TCR championship for 2023. Luc Lucchesi with a phenomenal run gets into fourth place. Jason Coetzee into fifth. Paul Herbert takes sixth. Werner Skuman takes 7th in our pros. Peter Hubert takes 8th in the pros. Herman Lazarus takes 9th in the pros, along with Willem Buerta taking 10th in the pros. First of our pro-ams, Robbie Teens taking first, Fardy Gravenstein taking second, Timothy Stanton taking third, Doug Herber, Visti Solgrad, Gary Fleming scoring a couple of points, he's in 6th place, Jeff Hancock's followed by Arno Kraus, Nico Killerman, Roland Ferreira, and Sway Stubert, rounding out our field for our pro-ams. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Points done and dusted. Unofficially, though, I think, going into this, and after all of it, Jan Ferry will be walking home with just enough ahead of Willem Buerta to go and secure that he is having a massive, massive run. So, I've got to say, really, really great stuff. Getting asked by a couple of the drivers to just take a look at what happened. Visti Stolgrad right before the line, getting an overtake. And let's take a look at it. Sweeps across the nose as he's fighting out with Herman Lazarus. Lazarus runs out wide. Visti Stolgrad getting the drive right to the end. Herman Lazarus losing it out right as he comes across. So some great racing there. Checkered flag, though, did come out for the likes of Troy Dolenchek, who absolutely gave it his all and taking the final checkered flag for 2023. Really happy with that result, and honestly pushed it all the way through. Yuri Swat getting ahead of Jan Fari right across the line. Both of them so close to one another. But what a tremendous run between them. And Yuri Swat going, well, now I've sent it, time to bin it. And did exactly that, launching it off at turn 1. But what a run down to the line for it all. So taking a look at our results, ladies and gentlemen, for Heat 2. Troy Dolenchik taking first place, Yuri Swart taking second, Jan Fari taking third, followed by Luke Lucchesi, Paul Herber, along with Werner Skuman, Peter Hubert, Jason Kutsi, Herman Lazarus, and Willem Buerta of our pros. Moving into our pro-ams, we do have Robbie Teens, Farney Gravenstein, Timothy Stanton, Doug Herber, Visti Stalgrad, Gary Fleming getting himself on a board. Good to see him out there. Jeff Hancock's, Arno Kraus, Nico Killerman, Roland Ferreira, and Swayze Chabert rounding out our field tonight. And that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, does bring me to a joyous occasion, but at the same time a bit of a sad one. It does bring a little tear running down the eye. And that is, it's done, it's dusted, and that is the end of our TCR Championship right at the end. And let's see if we can get a couple of guys to come and have a chat to us here in the commentary box. And give a few words to discuss the championship and what a race it has been. Visti Solgrad, really happy with that. Psycho Raider, also really excited. Chase Herald saying what a phenomenal run it was. Devin Allies, who is going and getting himself ready for the Britcard 24-hour this weekend that he's participating in, along with Cameron Nell going and saying how's it, which is always grand to see. Let's see if we can get a couple of guys to come through. Send a bit of a message. And try and get some drivers to come say a few words. Wonder if Doug Herber's going to pop through. And it looks like we do have a chap coming through to give us a few words, and one that, well, it's been a while. It's been a very hot take of minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for the first time at RaceFace.Pro, I'd like to introduce, all the way from Second Gear Productions and from the Audi seat that has been racing around, Gary Fleming. Gary, welcome to the commentary box. First time at RaceFace and first time racing out there. How was it? A little bit of a hectic start. Okay, it looks like Gary just trying to get his mic up and going. So while he's busy with that, to try and get his microphone up and going, it seems like it's a little bit out on the Discord. Or he is incredibly short of breath on the absolute racing we had for the TCRs for the end of the season. Gary, are you there? Can you hear me? Okay, seems to be having a little bit of difficulties. Let's see if we can try and get hold of him in a different manner to give us a few words. Give him a call. Gary, you live on air with the RaceFace.Pro. How are you feeling after that race? Okay, seems that microphone is out even on WhatsApp. So, a bit unfortunate there, but we'll try and get some words from Mr. Fleming of Second Gear Productions. Gary, can you hear me? There we go. All right, so Gary Fleming of Gary Fleming of Second Gear Productions currently on the WhatsApp line. Gary, how are you feeling after that race?
Well, it was actually quite amazing. I haven't had a chance to actually be able to join up yet with any of your races.
And I mean, to be out there with all the drivers that you get to commentate on, how does it feel to finally be on the other side behind the steering wheel?
Quite amazing. I never really get the opportunity to be out on track with the guys. It's always behind the cameras. And I don't know the track, didn't know the cars at all, and just went out there and had fun. Ended up 15th. Can you believe it? Only because other guys went off.
Well, can I also tell you came 6th in class? Does that make you feel any better?
Well, I feel bad for the guys that went off because I didn't pass many people, but that was actually very, very lucky. Definitely, if the timing works out, would like to do a little bit more iRacing going forward. I'm still sitting with the old G26, so it's going to be a case of once we plug the new pedals in, hopefully it'll be a bit better. And I'd love to do a bit more of your racing on RaceFace.
Well, it's absolutely incredible to have Gary Fleming of Second Gear Productions. For anyone that doesn't know, where can they find Second Gear Productions? A little bit of a shameless plug coming in from your side. But where can they find you to get all the information of what Second Gear Productions is?
Well, Second Gear Facebook page on Facebook is where you can pick up the Second Gear Talk Show as such, where we cover all things motorsport, and then Second Gear Productions on YouTube. That is where we do all the live productions of all the iRacing as such. Second Gear Productions on YouTube.
And Gary Fleming, the voice of Kalani. Thank you very much, Gary. Absolutely incredible. I'm going to leave you be, and after that one, I think you deserve a chocolate milkshake.
I think it's going to be a slightly stronger than that. Thanks, Stephen. Thanks, everybody from RaceFace. Looking forward to joining you guys next season.
Thank you very much. Absolutely tremendous stuff. Some words from Gary Fleming. Moving in, we do have Visti Stalgrad coming back to have a chat. Visti, your steering worked. You got some drive out there. How are you feeling? Visti, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes,
I thought you had stage fright.
No. But yeah, we got the car back together, and we find a lot of speed in the car, but it was not. It didn't drive as usual, so we couldn't make it for the 4th place. That was disappointing, but all in all, a very good race and a very fun season.
Well, I mean, fifth place overall, 5th place in the class, not bad. Walking home with quite a few points for the championship. But how are you feeling after it's all done and dusted? The final checkered flag of 2023 for the TCRs, done and dusted, and coming down on you. Is it a bit of a sweet moment, or what does it feel like to you?
I actually feel like, like everything is feels like a bit of emptiness, but as in race driving, there is no break, so it's just racing and grinding and training until 4th season starts. So now we will hit the training box and we will get better and we will come back better. I think that stands for a lot of the drivers as well, that are going on holiday now to next season.
Oh, it's absolutely incredible. And I look forward to seeing more of your friends come racing with us, getting a bit of support from your side as well, just to go and fight it out with us South Africans. We like having this little bit of a banter, and considering the fight you've taken to the championship. Any last words from your side before we sign off for the evening?
Just want to say thank you to all the guys at the RaceFace.Pro, as well as all the guys in the Racing League. I hope to see you next season, and if anybody is watching and wondering if they should go get a racing sim or something like that and participate, then don't hesitate. Go do it and come join us.
Absolutely incredible. I'm gonna ask, how do I say good evening and goodbye in your native?
that would be overall. Mange tak for sæson 4. I må alle sammen have en rigtig dejlig aften, og I må sove godt, når I når dertil. That was it for me. Thank you, Steven.
Thank you very much, Visti. Absolutely incredible. And thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for joining us here at RaceFace.Pro. We'll see you next week for our F4s around Red Bull Ring for the final time for 2023. Make sure that you take a look at RaceFace.Pro out on Facebook. Go and head over to our website for registrations. Also join us on the Discord because we have plenty of racing going on from iRacing, Assetto Corsa Competizione, rallying, and so much more, including F1. How's that? We also have F1 2023. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, from myself, Stephen Koenig, I'd like to say for the final time for our TCRs, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody.